All right, it's time. And unless you've been living under a rock somewhere for the past few months, you know what time I'm talking about. It's time for Caves Live. Hey everybody, my name is Emchot Edwards, and I'm an education specialist with the United States Forest Service. My job is to help make sure that we're learning things and having fun in the process, so fingers crossed it all goes well today. All right, we are in the Shenandoah Valley of Virginia in a place called Luray Caverns. This is actually one of the largest caverns, the largest cave systems, the largest cave systems in the eastern United States. And if you look around, these chambers actually began dissolving over 400 million years ago. So, this wasn't made overnight. And if you look, you'll notice that most of these structures around here are reddish and orange, brownish color. That's coming from iron present in the soil above, and it trickled as the water and raindrops trickle down. They bring it through here and have painted and decorated these walls this fabulous, beautiful color. We didn't stage this for you. This is natural. 400 million years in the making. How about it? All right. One of the things that you'll see a little bit later is actually man-made. There's a musical instrument, an organ, that we'll play a little bit later, so stay tuned for that. Caves have all sorts of interesting things that you'll find in them. The more that you get out and see, you'll notice that they're beautiful, natural formations. And there are caves all across the country, so I'm encouraging you to come visit. After you see this program, you're going to want to go even more. But right now, I'm even saying, come visit. And speaking of visitors, I have a bunch of friends here from Ripon Middle School. Hey. Yeah, welcome. I'm so glad you all could come. They will actually be asking questions of our fabulous scientists, which we just happen to have 3 right here. Let me introduce. We've got Dr. Joanna Kovarik. She's the National Cave and Karst Program Lead for the USDA Forest Service. We have Barb Beasley, a paleontologist with the USDA Forest Service. And we have Limaris Soto, or Lima. She's a geologist with the National Park Service. Now, these are a few of our scientists. We have a bunch more that are not going to be on screen. They are equally as important and equally as awesome, right? I'm going to introduce them because they'll be answering your questions and putting them into the online forum. So they're not here with us, but they are. We've got Gretchen Baker. She's an ecologist with the National Park Service and one of our stars from the original Caves Live. We have Dr. Hazel Barton, professor at the University of Akron. She's also a star of the IMAX movie, Journey into Amazing Caves. We have Fernando Hernandez, a graduate student in hydrogeology at Western Kentucky University, also one of our stars from original Caves Live. We have Ben Miller, a karst hydrologist with the U.S. Geological Survey. We have Shona Pierce, an archaeologist with the Forest Service. Lisandra Nieves Rivera, she's a forest soil scientist with the Forest Service. So many different types of science, right? That's why I'm using notes. Okay. Dr. Ben Tobin is a hydrologist with the National Park Service. Dr. Steve Taylor is a research associate with the Denver Museum of Nature and Science, one of our awesome partners as well. An associate research professor at Colorado College. Dr. Sybil Amelon is a research wildlife biologist with the Forest Service, and Dr. Risa Carlson, archaeologist with the Forest Service. I haven't actually done the math, but I think that's a ton of scientists. Right? Maybe. Okay. So you're probably trying to figure out how can you submit questions. Well, if you are on the Caves Live website, you can immediately post those there. Also, if you're on the Facebook environment, you can post your questions directly on our page there as well, or emailing to fieldtrips@pwnet.org, and all those 3 channels will funnel to us here. We'll answer them as best as we can. Sound fun? Okay? Sweet. How about we start with a question from somebody in the room?
Sounds good.
You all okay with that?
Yeah.
We're ready.
So, hey, Ripon Middle School is sending their first representative up. Come on, let's see what you have.
So how are caves and cave systems formed?
Way to start us off. How are caves and cave systems formed?
That's a great question. That's such a great question to start us off with. And as Amchat said earlier when we first started the program, he gave us a hint, right? He said as water moves through the rock. So for caves like this, caves like the one that we're standing in right now here at Luray Caverns, and caves in areas of the US and around the world that are made from limestone, water interacts with the rock to dissolve away that rock and carry it away and create these cavernous rooms that we're standing in right here. But there are other types of caves as well.
Yeah, so we're here in a solutional cave, right? So Luray Caverns is a type of cave that it's called solutional cave, but we have volcanic caves. And then we have talus caves that are formed by rocks piling on top of each other, or sea caves that form on shorelines, and glacial caves. Those are important as well. So different type of caves.
3 different answers. You okay with that? Sweet, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else from Ripon Middle School? You want to come on?
My question is do sudden events cause the caves to form, or are they developed over many years?
Good question. You think like an earthquake opened this up? Is that what we're asking? Something like that? Let's see.
Also, a really good question. MChat gave us a hint to this as well. He said over 400 million years ago this cave started to form. So many caves take a very long time to form. They start out as something very small, and then over lots and lots of years form these huge spaces. But as Lima mentioned, there are lots of different types of caves, and some take less time.
Yeah, especially if they have, let's say, wave action. If you're on the coast and you have the sea waves, and then you also have mechanical action. So some caves form faster, but not fast enough for us to actually notice. You know, it will take a long time for us to see a big chamber like this, millions of years. And that's why we have to preserve and conserve them. They're very valuable to us, and they took many, many years to form.
Thank you, Amina and Martin, for those questions. Really appreciate you all. You probably have some more. Hang on, we'll come back to you. What I'd like to do is see if we have an online question ready and available. We have an online question? Sweet. We do? I'm taking this one. Great. Oh, you've got one. Sweet. Awesome. Thank you. So this is from Miss Dornan's class in Galesburg, Illinois.
Hello, Illinois.
How big does it have to be considered a cave?
Ooh, that is such a good question. So in terms of federal lands where the Forest Service and the National Park Service manage caves, caves are defined by the Federal Cave Resources Protection Act. And there's no quantitative measurement, no number that we apply to a cave in terms of how big it needs to be. It just needs to be a naturally occurring void space or empty space like this under the surface of the earth. However, in different states, they do have a number that they apply to that. So for Missouri or Tennessee, where Barb is from, they might say a cave needs to be 30 feet long or something like that in order to actually be defined as a cave. That's a great question.
Mm-hmm. So I can't consider the pothole in the street
That
okay.
may be considered a sinkhole.
Yeah, karst feature.
A karst feature. Well, thank you. All right. We have another one. This is from Anna, who's actually homeschooled in Chesapeake Beach, Maryland. Hey, I've been there before. What's your most favorite cave? And we're going to have this cave cover its ears. Hold on. Okay.
I think Mammoth Cave has been my favorite cave because it's in Kentucky, so it's close to where I did a geology field trip, and it's just monstrous, just like the name says, mammoth. It is huge.
And you're a paleontologist.
And
so
I'm a paleontologist,
mammoths,
and
right?
it refers to the elephants that used to be in North America. Did you know elephants were in North America? No? Yes? Yeah, come on. You're too cold? So yes, mammoths and other elephants were around in North America over 10,000 years ago.
I have to say Carlsbad Caverns National Park. It's just a beautiful cave. If you have the chance, go visit. It's in New Mexico. I'm kind of biased because I work for the National Park Service, but it's one of those wonders of the world.
So, you want to say your favorite cave?
Well, actually, how about you, Amchat?
Oh.
All right, I've been in 2 caves. I think I'm going to say my favorite cave is going to be at Blanchard Springs.
Yes.
It was awesome. The folks there were great, and it was wild. There were bats everywhere, and bat poop everywhere. But you look past that because the cave is just so cool.
We're really happy there's bat poop there because that means there's bats there, which is great.
There's life. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
There's life. Well, this question yes, okay. This one, what's the smallest area of a cave you've ever passed through? They want a story. Oh, I'm sorry, and this one is from Colum, from California.
Holland, that's a big question or a little question.
Tell me to
all right, I'll stop. Gosh, the smallest space. I don't know. What's the small? So there are places in caves when you're exploring where you have to crawl through and you have to turn your head sideways and push your pack ahead of you or drag it behind you, attached to your foot or something like that. So that's pretty small. Where it takes, I can't even think of how long, like the longest time I've spent in a small space like that, but there are definitely small spaces that we push through to explore caves. How about you two? Do you have any small space experience underground?
Yes, in Florida.
Some of there might be a good story.
Yeah, they're pretty tight, and you're pushing your backpack as you go, and you're like, when is this going to end? It's getting kind of small. So imagine crawling under your chair and see how much space you have to move from one side to the other. Not now, but when you go home. It's sort of the same feeling of being in a tight, contained place.
People find fun in so many different ways. Some people stick themselves into tiny caverns. Tell me your name again. You want to do a question?
My name is Maraki Yilika.
Well, welcome.
Okay, my question is, how is the cave still in good condition even though it's been years since it has been found?
Good question. Someone nailing these back to the ceiling, that what you're asking? Okay, got it. Let's hear it.
So caves have stewards, right? We are all stewards of caves, and we all help to protect caves through the different things that we do. In the Forest Service and the National Park Service, and then here at Luray, the owners of Luray Cavern, since it's a privately owned cave, all take precautions and do things to make sure that what we're doing on the surface doesn't impact the cave below. And they also have tour guides, which you may have seen, or Forest Service or National Park Service employees that talk to the visitors and tell them, not to touch formations and not to take them with them so that other people can enjoy them and scientists can study them in the future.
Okay, thank you.
Great question. Thank you. Another you? Yeah. Sweet. You all are all in the front row. It's so convenient.
So my question is, what impact do caves have on our daily lives?
I'm turning that way. Thank you. What's your name?
Lydia.
Thanks, Lydia.
So we're connected to caves in our daily lives in lots of different ways. For one, they capture our imagination, right? Pretty cool, huh? And then also, scientists who study caves learn things about medicine, like antibiotics, how microbes interact with the environment, and how we can utilize them in things like medicines, which is a good question for some of our scientists answering questions online. We have a microbiologist with us. And then also through water. Water comes from cave systems in some places, so we interact with the water that comes out of cave systems.
Very cool.
And then people, as we talked about, as Amchat said, people are into all kinds of different things. Some of us love recreating in caves and crawling through small spaces.
You could do it every day if you join this team of scientists one day. Hint, 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 hint. Hint. Did any of you want to jump in on that one? Otherwise, we have a couple of questions coming in from online, whichever way you want to go. Thanks, Joanna, for giving a look at this high tech coming right in from online. All right. This one is from Kristen Glassner from Fillmore Middle School in Fillmore, New York. What is the mineral composition of the cave? We have learned about calcite and chemical weathering. Is there calcite in this cave?
Yes, so part of the formation here, it's dolomite, which is calcium carbonate formed with magnesium, but most of the cave is also limestone, which has calcium. There are some formations that are formed of aragonite, and you can also have gypsum in caves. So there are different kind of minerals that you can find in caves. In here, a lot of the speleothems are calcite.
Thank you. I've got a second question. It's from Vicky B. from Magnolia Middle School in Joppa, Maryland. What made you want to be a scientist?
I got this one. So my earth science teacher in 3rd grade, I don't know if you guys have an awesome teacher, maybe in 6th grade, 3rd grade. So I started doing science fair and I joined the science club. So if you guys have something like that, you might want to join. And she took us caving. She took us on our first wild tour. And we went caving, and I realized I love rocks, I love caves, that's what I want to do. I don't know how I'm going to do it, and then I realized I could study geology, but it was something that was calling me since I was very, very young.
Oh, yeah, and my 5th grade science teacher, Miss Hamilton, I'm from West Tennessee, and our gravel is actually, our driveways and all are loaded with fossils, and she brought them in, explained what fossils were, and of course we had a gravel driveway, and once I started noticing and recognizing all the different kinds of animals and fossils that are there, I started bringing them in buckets and bringing them into the house. So most of the driveway ended up in the house. And so actually that was my very first time and introduced to bee fossils. And I have been in paleontology ever since.
I had a similar experience to Barb with the buckets of rocks. I grew up on the shores of Lake Michigan. Michigan, anybody? Yeah. And I brought buckets of rocks back from the shore of Lake Michigan. My dad would take us out and we'd look for agates and fossils, Petoskey stones and things like that.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
yeah.
Very cool. Thank you. So it's interesting the rich history that we have and we can learn by looking at the minerals and things that are found. We will actually jump to a video so we can learn about the rich cultural heritage of the native indigenous peoples of this land and how caves relate to their culture. So how about the video?
Hi, I'm Christopher Keppel. Now at the Forest Service, we have lots of lands that we manage, and most of those lands, if not all of those lands, were once ancestral lands to Native Americans. Now Native Americans have been here on our continent for at least 15 to 17,000 years, maybe even older. And they've been managing and using and enjoying the resources of this great nation for millennia. And many of those lands are now, of course, managed by the Forest Service. Now we also have other resources that other people like to enjoy. So we need to balance our commitment to the American public, but also to our Native American partners. And in finding that balance, we have to find a way that we can be respectful of Native American spiritual beliefs and religious beliefs, as well as let people come to our forests and recreate. Now, I'm not Native American. I work for the Office of Tribal Relations, and so when I speak to you today about the sacredness of caves, what I'm doing is I'm imparting the messages that Native American tribes who partner with us have asked that we remember. Now, some caves and their relationship to Native Americans go back millennia. And for many Native Americans today, caves are sacred spaces. In the Dakotas and along the Black Hills are many caves, one in particular called Wind Cave, that for the Lakota people is their origin. It is the place that they have told the Forest Service they come from millennia ago. There are caves that have been explored by Native Americans. You may have heard of Mammoth Cave in Kentucky. Well, Native Americans have been exploring Mammoth Cave and getting resources for at least 6,000 years. So that's a very, very long time ago. Ancient Native Americans have put rock art on caves. This can be pictographs. This can be forms of animals, ancestral images, plants, anything that's spiritually significant to those people at that time. And even though that was done a very long time ago, it is still significant to Native Americans today. For some Native Americans, caves can be origin places. For others, they can be places where ancestors are resting. For others, they can play an important part in their oral history and the tales that elders impart to children. So caves have been an important part, spiritually and physically, of Native American culture. In the past, certainly, and we've talked about a lot of the ancient uses of caves, but they're also sacred places today. They're part of a living, holistic, larger sacred landscape that is significant to Native American tribes and our partners who are tribal nations. And at the Forest Service, we try and find a balance and work with our tribal partners to make sure that we respect that sacredness and respect and balance the many uses that people come to our forests to enjoy.
Sweet. Quick questions from online. By the way, thanks, Chris, for helping us with that video. So quick question from online. This was from Davina from Magnolia. Hey, again, from Magnolia Middle School in Joppa, Maryland. Thanks again for watching. How can you remember the difference between a stalactite and a stalagmite? Wait. It's my time to shine. Hold on. So here we go. So stalactites are the ones that are hanging tight to the ceiling. All right, you can picture that they're holding on tight and they're hanging down. Whereas stalagmites are the ones that might get big and tall one day from the drips that are falling down on them. All right? Yeah, I had one. Ow! All right, and then I have another one online. This is from 6th grade students at Mesa View Elementary School in Grants, New Mexico. What kind of equipment do I need to explore caves?
Excellent. Well, you got to start with a helmet. You got to protect your head, right? And then you got to have boots on. We've all got boots on today. Gosh, what else would you need?
Three sources of light.
Yes, 3 sources of light. Elbow pads, knee pads in case you have to crawl like we talked about earlier. And very important, you should always have other people with you, not just by yourself. You should go in a group of people.
I appreciate that. You always bring back the importance of the people in caves. It's not just the resources, it's the people that are all brought together.
It's a team.
They might help you get out of the cave.
Yes, in case you get lost.
Yes.
I got lost this morning. How about Barb? Can we talk paleontology?
Well,
I know
yes.
lots of people have questions
Absolutely.
about,
Yeah. Just to tell you about a little bit about paleontology in caves. Caves sometimes have very large openings and they go deep and they provide a stable environment, a same temperature and humidity, and sometimes a lot of animals, large animals and small, will use the caves as shelter to hide or to live throughout, or just to hang out and then go outside and bring in dinner. So with this, one of the animals that is found in caves is a giant ground sloth. This is a claw, one claw, similar to your fingernail, like a cat claw or whatever. And this was from a giant ground sloth. And these animals became extinct somewhere around 10,000 years ago. And they think that humans actually overhunted them because they're large and slow and they were easy to catch. Plus, since they were so big, they threw a really big barbecue all the time. So they could feed a lot of people.
That's what I was picturing.
Yep. And so another animal that is also found in caves and is big is an elephant. Remember I mentioned elephants before? Mammoths and mastodons did not live in caves, but the animals that predated on them or would capture them and kill them would actually bring body parts in to feed the family. So we'll find a lot of this fossil material from elephants.
Have we ever found any fossilized toothbrushes? Because that thing is huge.
No, not yet, but we'll keep looking.
You keep on digging. Thank you so much, Barb. Another online question. This actually is from some of our friends in Ohio, from Maddox, a 3rd grader from Absorbent Minds Montessori School in Ohio. The question is, do you collect rocks from caves and sell them? Do you do the same with fossils?
Oh, no, we don't.
No, not at all.
Barb, do you want to talk about fossils?
Oh, well, sure. It actually depends on who owns the cave. So if it's a federal owned by or managed by a federal land management agency, that means the cave belongs to you. And so we do not sell any fossils or anything from the caves. However, if it's from a private cave, private ownership, then they may make that decision to sell material that's from the cave. But otherwise, for fossils, that's the answer.
We like to espouse leave no trace principles, right? So leave everything where you found it. Don't take anything out of the cave with you. Have no impact other than just your footprints. So in Forest Service and National Park Service caves, leave everything where it is. Appreciate it where it is so that somebody else coming after you can do the same thing.
And be sure not to touch the formations because they're very sensitive. And the oils from your hands can prevent those stalagmites or stalactites from growing. So we want to be very careful when we're in a cave not to knock down things, not to break things. And if we see somebody that it's breaking things, let an adult know, let a park ranger know, or a Forest Service park employee so that they can, do the right thing. Because we need to protect those resources for future generations.
Thank you so much. Hey, how about another question from Ripon? Leslie.
What is the rarest animal found that you guys have found?
Can you repeat the question?
What is the rarest animal that you have found?
Rarest animal that we have found. That may be a good question for
Barb.
Barb, since her animals are extra rare.
Actually deal in wildlife, prehistoric wildlife. But anyway, usually I'm guessing, and it's pure guess, is that they're the salamanders and things that have gone completely white, and they're actually blind because there's no light. And so I would assume that there's not many animals that have become so dependent upon the cave environment that those would be rare. I'm sure there's more, but that's my knowledge. Okay, yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Leslie. Hey, we're actually going to put a pause on questions, so if you have some more, hang on, because we have a tour coming through. This cave is actually a working cave, a working show cave, and there's a tour group coming on. Yeah. Hey now, you're safe, I promise. You can walk through there if you like. Just be careful of the mic. If you look up that way, you can see one of the pieces moving. You'll see it. The sound that you're hearing is coming from the stalactite pipe organ. It's actually the largest musical instrument in the world, and it's covering over 3.5 acres. There's over 5 miles just of wires running to make this thing work. It took them a full 3 years to build, and they started back at 1954. Okay? There are little small electronic mallets that strike the stalactites, and they had to find the right ones to make the right sound. And that's why it's spread out so far. They had to find the right one, hit it, make a little vibration, and then little microphones pick that up. And it's tuned actually to the concert pitch. Thanks, Allison, for bringing your group through. Hey, guys, thank you. Joanna, you said you like caves for the people. Check it out. This cave is actually drawing people.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah. Maybe some budding new cave scientists in the group.
I saw some young ones.
Or concert pianists, concert organists.
So now you can say that you heard a rock concert today. Okay, they got it. All right, good. Another question from Ripon. Come on, bring it on. Oh, we've got lots of hands coming up. I hope we have time to get to everybody, okay?
My name is Monica, and my question is, why is it important to learn about caves?
Interesting. Thanks, Monica.
It's a great question
Why is it
as
important?
well. Thank you, Monica. So there's so many different reasons why learning about caves is super important. There's a lot that we can learn from caves. We learn about where our water can come from. We can learn about past climates. We can learn, we can be inspired to make beautiful art. So there's a whole range of reasons why.
Different ecosystems. So even though you think this cave is bare, there's only, stalagmites hanging from the ceiling, there are many animals that use the cave to live here, and microbes. And like Barb said, there are also fossils. So caves are great repositories for different artifacts, and we had found fossils that date, from millions of years. We're also finding baskets or different things that other humans left behind when they were living on caves, and it's important to preserve them. So there's so much to caves, not just a dark, hole in the ground.
Thank you for that question. An interesting follow-up. This one came from online from Gilmore Academy, because it's an interesting follow-up. They're in Mills, Ohio, by the way. Lots of Ohio love today. Do you think that there are plant and animal species that we haven't discovered yet?
Well, Absolutely. We're always finding new things. That's why it's always the best thing to do is to be very careful if you ever enter a cave and you may happen to may be the first one, to always report it to the owner or to a scientist or someone, because there may be something brand new that's in there. And even though caves may not be named after people, but fossils can be. Remember that. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's
there's,
always, yeah.
yeah, and there's so many caves around the world that haven't been discovered yet. There's still the possibility to find new caves, and with those caves, new species and new things that live there in those environments. So
Fascinating. I have a couple of online questions. How about this one? Why are caves different temperatures? And then the second part of that is, what is average, and what cave is the coldest, and what cave is the hottest?
what is
It's a lot of questions, by the way.
It depends where the cave is located. So it's going to be the mean annual temperature of the location of the cave. So around here it's 54, 55 degrees. And if we go to the tropics, I'm from Puerto Rico, so if we go down there, the caves are going to be warmer because the mean annual temperature can be for the cave in the 70s. So it's going to be hotter and you don't need as many clothes. So it depends. If you're in the desert, the cave is going to be warmer. So
yeah, and caves up high in the alpine can have ice in them, and you have to have even more layers and clothes and hats to wear when you're mapping those caves. So.
Yeah, Johanna used to work in Alaska. I'm sure those caves were cold.
They were cold.
All right, this one isn't coming from online, but up here. So you're in a cave in the desert. Is it moist and damp like this one?
It depends of the mean, rainfall for that area. But for the cave to be formed, they had to have enough rain to be formed throughout the years. So.
Interesting. Did we already do that?
I think we did.
Somebody asked, how do you keep from getting lost? The answer is to stick with them. So,
As you mentioned, Amtrak got a little lost this morning. Did we mention that?
Focus, focus. Okay, here we go. Another
Always
question
hope
online.
somebody that knows where they're going.
How do you join a caving club?
Oh, and that's a good follow-up because Amtrak joined us as a caving club. Lost. But the National Speleological Society, which is one of our Forest Service partners, has caving clubs across the country, grottos, that welcome new members, teach them how to go caving, teach them about cave conservation and ethics, and often they lead trips for new cavers so that they can explore in caves. Also, you can always go out to one of our National Caves Association partner caves, such as this cave here at Luray Caverns, and one of their great tour guides will take you on a trip so that you can experience a cave for yourself without any of that gear we talked about, like helmets and elbow pads, boots, those sorts of things. So there's lots of different ways depending on what your interest level is and how adventuresome you are.
Do you want to share the website?
Oh yes, the website for the National Speleological Society is www.caves.org.
That's easy.
It's super easy. It's like our website minus the live part.
Cool. So we've heard the terms caves, caverns. I have a question of what is a cenote and how do they form?
It's a good one. I'll take it.
Bring it on.
Cenotes are usually found in the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico, and they are karst depressions. So they're large depression where the roof of that cave had collapsed, and they have steep walls, and usually they have water inside the cenotes. And you have fresh water that is going to flow into the ocean where you have salt water. So that's a cenote, and it's a Mayan word.
Okay, I'm
They're
trying to picture
beautiful.
that. Cave, the ceiling fell in.
And you have steep walls, and then there's water inside the cenotes.
Can I swim in there?
Yes, of course. Some people do.
Write that one down, folks.
Vacation.
Let's take a question. There's so many. I saw tons of hands going up. I'm just going to ask somebody from near the front. Or I love the folks in the back too, I promise. Yeah, what's your question, brother? Wait. One more time. What's your name?
My name is Juan, and my question was, does the bat's echolocation get affected by the people coming in here making noise?
Oh, good question. Does bats' sense of echolocation get affected by people coming in here making noise?
It's a very good question. People can disturb bats, it's true. Most of the time, and here we haven't really seen too many bats when we've been walking around, but in a lot of caves, they tend to not let people go into areas where bats are hibernating or where bats like to roost so that we can protect them, so that we don't mess with their hibernation or mess with them trying to fly in and out of the cave to go eat dinner at night.
Good question.
Good question.
I was in a cave and there were bats flying all over the place and they did not mind me at all. They didn't care. They were still doing their bat business, okay? It was fascinating, okay?
They didn't want to get in your hair?
Up close and personal. No, they stayed out of my hair.
Yep, that's totally a myth.
That's a myth.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Okay.
bats don't like to mess with us. They like to do their own thing.
Yeah. So thanks for that question. We will talk about careers. How about that? So what in the world did you have to study, or what were you interested in that really made you decide to do this kind of work?
Well, for me, I got involved in this by working with the Student Conservation Association when I was in my undergraduate, which I think I have a fellow SCA member here, AmChat, but I got a job through Student Conservation Association at Carlsbad Caverns National Park, which is Lena's favorite cave. And through that, I became interested in caves and interested in how they form. And then through another job with the Forest Service up in the Tongass National Forest in southeast Alaska, I became interested in how our activities on the surface, our management activities, impact water in caves in the subsurface. And so I studied geology and geography, cartography, mapping caves, and hydrology, those sorts of things.
Interesting. Similar story, different story? Yeah, Barb?
Yeah, pretty much. It may be different. When I went to the University of Tennessee at Martin as for my bachelor's. And so at first I took all the geology and biology and geography classes. And that's what gave me a very broad background in geology and biology to be able to marry those two programs within paleontology. So I've been a paleontologist, fell in love with it the first quarter because geology just came easy to me. And then when we hit the third quarter of historical geology, which had the fossils in it and all the animals and all, I was absolutely struck because I love animals too. So it married the best thing, rocks and fossils. Yep.
Cool.
So I, like Barb, I studied geology for my undergraduate, but it wasn't until I took a class about geomorphology and caves that I fell in love. Our professor took us caving, and I knew I wanted to learn more about those caves. And so I started studying hydrology. So if you're interested in caves, you also need to learn what happens with the water. If you're interested in one science, you might want to combine them. So I also did some hydrology, and then eventually I did paleoclimate, which is something that you might not think about it, but we can get information about what the climate was in the past studying caves, and that's what I did. So there are many things you can study. You can study biology, you can study geology, geography, hydrology. So if you want to be a scientist and this is something that you like, there are many opportunities for you.
It's the cool thing about science. I mean, you can study anything, right? Find out what you're interested in and study it. Okay, all right. Question from online. This one is from Old Mill Middle School in Millersville, Maryland. Can caves disappear from being worn down so much with water moving through it?
That's a really great question too. Yeah, absolutely. The first thing that comes to mind for me are glacier caves, as they're melting at a pretty rapid rate. We have scientists that are studying glacier caves on national forest lands, especially on the west coast. And some of those caves have, just in our lifetime, even in the last 10 years, have completely melted away so that you can't see that they're there anymore.
But limestone caves, they might take a while for us to notice, but they will eventually dissolve and they'll be gone. So yeah, it's just not in our lifetime. We might not see it. We might not see this cave.
We have another 400 million years with this one?
Yeah, maybe 200, 100.
The water slowly carries it all out to the sea.
It continually thins the walls so the ceiling can collapse sometimes. So, but never during a tour, never.
Oh yes, not when we're in them.
All right, let's get, you have an elevator ride with one of these students. you're going to tell them what's important about caves in sort of a quick, condensed version. Can you help us with that?
I got this.
Okay, sweet.
So we talked about water all along. We've kind of mentioned water. In 40% of the US and 25% around the world, water comes from cool places like this where there are caves called karst areas, which was one of our glossary words from the first CavesLIVE. And so caves are super important to protect because our drinking water comes out of caves, as well as water for recreation and water for unique plants and animals that depend on water beneath the surface of the earth or at springs, where that water from the subsurface comes out at the surface. So water is a big, big part of why caves, cave systems, and karst areas as a whole are very important.
I'd like to ask that question of all of you.
Yeah. So they're important because they hold sediments. As you can see, there are sediments in the caves. Speleothems are also a type of sediment. So those sediments are records for us to study the climate in the past. So we learn about the temperature, we learn about the rainfall, and we can make predictions of what's going to happen in the future. They are comparable to tree-ring records. I'm sure you guys have heard about tree rings or deep sea sediments or even glacier records. So we can find the similar type of signs and then correlate it with what's happening outside the cave.
Yep. And Lima, that is very important because with the sediments, that's what protects the animals that died and then preserve them so that we can find them later and study them. Usually the animals maybe that are found in caves may not have been preserved anywhere else. And so we've got this cave that helps preserve and promotes science and gives us a lot more information about what the climate was like and what was influenced by the caves. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, I appreciate that elevated speech because we wanted you all to remember all the things that are important about caves. In case you want to refresh yourselves, you can always go to www.caveslive.org. And while you're there, I'd love it if you check out the evaluation. Because anytime you fill out the evaluations, you help us to refine these programs and get them a little bit better for every time we do the next one. Helps us learn what you learned and what you need more of. On that site, you'll also see tons of resources. You'll have other videos, which you can go back and rewatch over and over and over and grab a tub of popcorn and bring your whole family and sit, right? You can binge watch the whole CavesLIVE series. It's awesome. So right now, I just want to thank...
Oh, wait. Before we stop, he's been asking us all these questions, right? Amchad, I have a question for you.
All right.
So I don't know if you all know
Stlactites?
this. No, you already answered that one. So I don't know if you guys knew this, but Amchat was very nervous about going into caves to start with when we started this whole CavesLIVE journey. So Amchat, here we are, second program. What's your takeaway? What did you learn about caves? What's your elevator speech?
Elevator speech. All right, this is beautiful, and I would have hated to have missed out on all of this. We live in such a beautiful, amazing world, and our country is so beautiful and grand and grandiose. Get out and explore it. Don't be afraid. Actually try something new. There are resources all across the web that can help you find one. In fact, discovertheforest.org is even one. You can punch in your zip code and find fun things to go to and go hang out and explore. And had I not taken that first step into the cave, I would have missed out on all this and all the fun and the learning. And so I recommend it. If it's a cave, great, go and explore it. If it's a waterfall, go explore it. Take somebody with you because I've made some great friends along the way and had a ton of fun. So elevator speech, it's all about the people and fun. Thank you, Johanna. I appreciate you asking that question. Barb, Lima, thank you so much for being our on-camera experts. And to all of our scientists online, thanks for answering those questions. We didn't get to every, I know that we didn't get to every single one because I still have a bunch in my hand, but we'll keep answering them. So thank you to all you students out there that are sending them. Thank you to Ripon Middle School for coming.
Woo, yeah!
And a very, very, very special thanks to the Luray Cavern staff. They have done, just amazing work helping us to get all this stuff set up so we could bring this program to you. And thank you to all of you at home for viewing. We hope that you've enjoyed it, and we'll see you again online every time you watch. Just smile, and we'll feel it, all right? Thanks for viewing. Goodbye, everybody. you.